Yeah, hello all. How's everybody doing today? I'm going to wait for a couple minutes for people to come in. We're just going to wait for a few minutes here. Today I'm going to talk about my portfolio and what the results were from last week and tell some stocks that I have researched and just kind of give a idea of the performance from last week, and then we'll this will be a pretty short video. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Looks like we're starting to get people in there now. So I'll go ahead and get started. So these are my stocks from last week that are listed here, and I have not made any. I have not made any additions. Any additions from last week. And I haven't sold anything from last week either. Gonna make this a little bigger maybe so you guys can see. Let me see here. Let's see if that helps. I'm gonna increase my Excel document here. All right, so I've got Chipotle. That's my largest holding. I've got 32% in the percentage portfolio for Chipotle. And what I did is I have these two columns here. So the column here is the current price last week, which is $36.75. The current price this week is $32.52. So it has really drastically went down over 10% within a week. And that's what Chipotle has been doing for the last year. Has been going from a range bound to 32 to $50 back and forth. But I did buy a little bit a few weeks ago when it got down to 32. I might pick some up when it gets down to around $30. But I do think it's a significant discount here. However, the guidance for next year and this year is for stagnant comp sales for this year. So, by the way, comp sales means that for the existing restaurants that they have now, the number of restaurants they have now for the existing restaurants, it is the what they expect the percentage sales to be for that given year, and they projected the comp sales to be flat. So the price is not reflected until those sales start turning around, which I think they will. It's a very good brand, and I go to Chipotle all the time, 3 times a week, and I see a lot of crowds. So I think they've got a really good business here. So my gain from last week was 392%. You can tell by the gain went down to 336% now. So you can tell it hit about a 60% drop just in 1 week for my overall gains. And then we got Axon's my favorite, and I really have a lot of prospects on this one. A lot more than Chipotle over the next 5 to 10 years. They pretty much monopolized the the market for body cams and tasers, and they've got drones now, and they've really got the whole market. And most of their products is with software subscriptions. So their software subscriptions gives them that reoccurring revenue from year to year and year. and they have not dropped off that retention rate. The retention rate is over 100% retention, and they keep their customers happy. And I really think that this over long term, this price has got to about 800 near $900 this year, and it's came down quite a bit, and it's driven down by the software SaaS stocks, the apocalypse that's happened there, and I really don't think they should be it should be punished this much, because it it it's not like a lot of stocks where a lot of businesses where AI can disrupt them. I don't think AI is going to disrupt them because they've got a proprietary business. It's going to be high switching costs for them, for any business to get off of Axon Enterprises. And they've got their subscriber software program now with evidence.com. That's a great program, and people are not going to get off of that. They've got all of their data in there, they've got all their evidence in there, and to switch from another business is going to be really difficult. Okay. Again, they've got really high PE ratio, and you got to take care of that. But I think at any price within 400 to 450, I will be a buyer. And of course, that's going to lower my cost basis here a little bit, but because I bought it so cheaply. But I think it's going to be a great hold. ExxonMobil, as you can see here, the current price is higher. So from all the stocks I've owned this week, this really the only stock that has went higher, which is good. We're probably at about a 4 to 5% gain from last week, and that's a good one. Disney, I keep holding. It also went down. Newell Brands is still suffering from the last week when I talked about it. It's got a very high dividend, but it's got a high debt, and it really needs a turnaround for that to take effect. I'm still holding it, but I really should have sold it a couple of years ago, and I'm to the point where all I have is 5% of my portfolio in it, in these individual stocks, and I'm just going to let it ride. Salesforce, it's about the same price as it was. Again, these next two stocks are the software SaaS stocks that I have been starting to invest in. I even bought some ServiceNow this last week, and I'm going to continue to keep getting that number of my portfolio back up to a point where it needs to be, because I think these two are really undervalued at this point. Most of their prices, they've lost about half of their value within the last year or so. But I think these are going to hold up, and you really got to be selective in that software SaaS stock. There's a bunch of stocks and businesses to avoid, and I'm going to talk about that probably in future videos of how that's going to work. General Mills, I continue to own it, and it's a high dividend yield stock, but it does have a little bit higher debt load, but it's not as bad as Newell Brands as far as the debt, and it looks like they are making money. Despite Newell Brands, which is not making money at this time. And then again, I've got Adobe here, and a very small portfolio, and I believe what I heard was that the CEO is going to leave from Adobe, and there's going to be a lot of changes within Adobe. I think the transformation, and it hit a really bad day one day, and I think it was over 10% loss in one day. It was like 7%, 10%, something like that. But I think it's got it does have some disruption with AI. I have to admit, I've been playing around with some AI tools just within Will Forma, which is a software. Will Forma is a software that I use to do a lot of my video editing, and I played around with doing some generation of images and things like that. It's amazing. You just have this prompt, you put exactly what you want in your picture, it will generate it automatically for you. I do know that Adobe is purchasing some products to do something similar to that, to continue doing that, but watch out for these AI stocks, because I think this is going to be a big disruptor. And I might sell this and just put it into ServiceNow. I'm really thinking about it. So these are all my stocks within my individual portfolio. These are roughly these are less than 10% of my holdings in the individual stocks. I've got 90% in indexes at this point. I just don't want to spend the time you have to spend on stocks to be able to make a big difference in my portfolio. I'd rather have just the indexes. It's the best way to do it. You don't have to worry about a stock going down a lot. And in actuality, when you're in indexes, you're going to it's not going to be you're going to do a lot better than what I have in my portfolio. Okay, I'll tell you that right now. And it's very hard to beat the indexes. Okay, and funds are in most of my funds are in low index expense ratio funds. So that's pretty much all I have today. And then next week, I'm going to start doing these portfolio updates every week. And that's all I have. And thanks y'all. If you guys like the video, go ahead and start subscribing and like the video and just keep following me in my progress, and we'll go from there. Thank you all, and have a good day.